Tugas sebagai pengerusi ASEAN yang diberikan ya kepada negara kita Malaysia khususnya yang diketuai oleh Perdana Menteri kita bukan satu yang ringan, sahabat semua. Ia adalah satu tanggungjawab yang begitu besar dan berat sekali. Tetapi dalam beberapa bulan ini kita boleh lihat bagaimana kepimpinan Perdana Menteri kita antaranya berjaya menyelesaikan gencatan senjata perang antara Thailand dan juga Kemboja baru-baru ini, dan banyak juga suara-suara penyatuan dari negara-negara ASEAN untuk terus bersama dalam isu antara bangsa, antaranya tarif, perbincangan tarif, keselamatan, kerjasama ekonomi, politik dan sebagainya. Jadi tahniah kita ucapkan kepada Malaysia dan juga Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim yang berjaya menunjukkan prestasi yang begitu cemerlang di mata dunia, di mata negara-negara ASEAN. Tetapi malangnya pihak pembangkang terus-menerus mengatakan kerajaan ini gagal. Kerana apa? Kerana kegagalan mereka menjadi semak dan imbang, membuatkan mereka membina persepsi naratif jahat untuk melaksanakan politik kotor, politik ekstrim, politik sempit yang diamalkan oleh pihak pembangkang hari ini. Itu pandangan saya, sahabat semua. Bagaimana dengan Anda? Anda boleh berikan komen di dalam ruangan komen. Jadi sekali lagi saya ingin membawakan Anda untuk mendengar ucapan Perdana Menteri dalam satu program Majlis Perasmian Joint Statement by ASEAN Law Ministry yang diadakan bermula pada 19 dan hari ini adalah hari penutupannya. Jadi tanpa buang masa, ayo kita tonton bersama video ini.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Menteri Azalina, rakan-rakan menteri dan peguam negara, Timbalan Menteri, tetamu yang saya muliakan. Alhamdulillah kita dapat menganjurkan satu persidangan perundangan ASEAN dan seperti mana disinggung oleh Menteri Azalina, sistem perundangan badan kehakiman merupakan tonggak utama dalam negara bebas, merdeka dan demokratik. Oleh itu, ia menuntut perubahan, reform yang berterusan. Prinsip pengasingan kuasa menuntut kita memahami bahawa era keangkuhan kuasa sama ada badan eksekutif, badan kehakiman atau legislatif harus berakhir. Pengalaman di negara-negara ASEAN termasuk di Malaysia membuktikan bahawa ada era di mana keangkuhan kuasa politik menyebabkan lemahnya sistem perundangan, seperti juga kerusakan dan kecemaran yang berlaku dalam badan kehakiman dengan tudingan rasuah dan keangkuhan serta penyelewengan. Sebab itu bila Menteri Azalina menekankan keperluan perubahan dan beliau melakukan itu dengan semangat dan yang kental dan kesungguhan dalam sidang-sidang jemaah menteri, perubahan-perubahan yang paling mantap dalam sejarah kita lihat dan langkah-langkah kerangka yang dilakukan bersama Jabatan Peguam Negara itu akan memberi keyakinan baru supaya meleburkan sanggahan terhadap salah guna kuasa baik dari segi pimpinan eksekutif ataupun kecenderungan badan kehakiman untuk mempamerkan kecelaruan dalam pemahaman perundangan dan aspek keangkuhan yang mungkin berlaku. Sebab itu kita sebagai kerajaan madani mendukung sepenuhnya ikhtiar yang dikemukakan oleh beliau dan rakan-rakan khususnya di Jabatan Peguam Negara. Thank you again, Dr. Kao Kim Hon, for the support. And I believe the presence of ministers and attorney generals and representatives of ASEAN signifies our total commitment to undertake and effect reform, law, justice, accessibility in ASEAN. So we are, of course, honored to host this forum, and may I again reiterate my expression of gratitude to all those who have contributed to this success, and most significantly, the ASEAN commitment seen from the senior representation during this conference. Your presence, of course, reaffirms our collective resolve to strengthen justice and fairness as a cornerstone in regional integration. Malaysia has chosen the theme inclusivity and sustainability. And again, as alluded to by Minister Zalina, these words are not just mere platitudes. They represent a profound commitment to build an ASEAN that leaves no one behind and ensures our institutions endure beyond the demands of the present moment. Coming from my personal experience, I can certainly differentiate the meaning of accessibility to the elites and the rich and the masses. Therefore, the issue of access is, to me, very critical to ensure there is justice for every single citizen in our countries. I've seen where the poor, the marginalized have been largely ignored because there's no access to the legal process. Therefore, the discussion must focus also to issues of inclusivity, because both in terms of development and progress, education and health, accessibility to legal process is, to my mind, critical, particularly, again, I repeat, the poor, the marginalized. Because I've seen in Sungai Buloh, where I had the rare privilege of staying for many, many years, I can see that gross disparity, and therefore justice cannot be expected to be impacted on these poorer segments of our community. That's why I take a real pleasure in the passion and commitment of Minister Zalina, although she didn't have the experience, personal, practical experience, but I have shared with her quite a number of times what it means to have access to justice. Sustainability, in turn, is about building legal systems and institutions that stand the test of time. A government's true strength does not rest in the reach of its authority, but in the integrity of its institutions, its fairness in governance, and the trust it earns from its citizens. So we stand today at a defining moment. ASEAN is moving towards its vision 2045, and the rule of law will be the foundation of that journey. A rules-based ASEAN is not a technical aspiration. It is a bedrock of trust, stability, and shared prosperity. Similarly, unity in ASEAN does not demand uniformity. Our diversity is our strength. Each of our nations carries its own traditions, cultural values, and historical experiences. Yet these differences enrich rather than divide us. We are familiar with bersekutu bertambah mutu in Malaysia, bineka tunggal eka in Indonesia, which actually summarizes this spirit of multiculturalism, and yet having the same aspiration for a united country and now ASEAN. So what binds us together is not sameness, but the collective will to ensure that our systems work in harmony for the greater good of our peoples. And if we are to uphold the shared framework, then each nation must also summon the resolve to strengthen its own legal foundations. For only strong pillars at home can sustain a resilient edifice abroad. In this spirit, Malaysia is reflecting on how best to strengthen its own legal architecture. Fortunately or unfortunately, I have a Minister of Law who is totally passionate and harassing us all the time to effect change as fast as possible. So therefore,
kids learn through their imagination. That's why we created Frizzo Gold. It's easily digested and absorbed by gentle tummies to protect them on their every adventure. Frizzo Gold. Give them the guts to explore the world.
Saya sebenarnya kan dah lama sangat pendam. Jiwa saya.
I have to seriously consider the establishment of a dedicated Ministry of Law. A step that would not only ensure greater coherence in our national legal ecosystem, but also enable Malaysia to engage more meaningfully with our regional partners in advancing the rule of law. This statement is not smuggled by Azarina. It's after my strong reflection what I need to do towards the end of this year. By aligning ourselves with the best practices of our neighbors, Malaysia will be better placed to shape a more just and responsive regional order. With this spirit of renewal, ASEAN too must continue to invest in mutual legal assistance, strengthen mechanisms for dispute resolution, and confront the new challenges of digital governance and the regulation of artificial intelligence. These are not abstract reforms, they are acts of trust binding, of ensuring that ASEAN remains relevant and resilient in a rapidly changing world. Our region has proven time and time again that disputes can be resolved through dialogue and principled diplomacy. I salute both the leaders of Laos and Cambodia for this commitment to secure lasting, amicable resolution of the conflict and lasting peace. ASEAN's approach to peace has always been one of quiet strength, consensus, and respect. The same spirit must guide our legal cooperation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, history shows us that confrontation breeds only uncertainty, while dialogue builds the trust needed for lasting stability. We saw this recently when tensions flared, as I've mentioned, between Thailand and Cambodia. Now, through the ASEAN spirit, the leaders of ASEAN and many other world leaders, we were able to support this effort to mediate, but only through the collective will of ASEAN. And I commend both leaders because both parties agreed swiftly to a ceasefire. Now, this was not just a triumph of diplomacy, but a reminder that even in moments of deep strain, Dr. Kao, ASEAN can rise above division and reaffirm its role as custodian of peace. As Nelson Mandela once reminded us, courageous people do not fear forgiving for the sake of peace. So when we strengthen mediation, arbitration, and conciliation, we do more than refine legal processes. We demonstrate our shared commitment to peace, stability, and the rule of law. Now, I understand that the forum will adopt a joint statement on legal cooperation, human rights, and sustainable development. And we look forward to effecting this resolution into practice And Malaysia, of course, remain committed in its resolve to translate it into practical action through legal processes and series of reforms too fast that the Attorney General start complaining to me that the ministers wants the legal drafts to be cleared too quickly, and that would take a lot of strain on the legal team. But again, as I said, this is effective. But what matters more is the resolve to translate aspiration into action, vision into tangible progress for our peoples. Sekali lagi saya ucap terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for that inspiring speech. Can I please invite you to